Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you join me today. This is the Take 5 Art Challenge for the month of August 2021. The prompts this month are brought to us by the lovely Anne from Just Me Creating, and I love these prompts. I'm gonna put the prompts down below in the description box, and I'd love you to join us. If you're interested, please do play along, post on Instagram, and tag me. I'd love to see what you do. So I'm going to start these prompts off with the blue and purple scheme, which I've chosen, which is one of the prompts. And I did decide to combine them with the Smoosh Technique. And for those of you who don't know the Smoosh Technique, I'm about to introduce it to you now. I'm going to do two types of Smoosh Technique so you can see how you can utilize the same technique and get two very different results. So here we go. So the first thing you need to do with this technique is to find a plastic surface, one that's not porous. What I used here is my Tim Holtz ink pads, either the oxides or the inks. I've got both. I decided to go with the speckled egg blue and the dusty concord in the purple. And if you smoosh the stamp pad down onto the plastic and just transfer it onto the white paper, you will get this beautiful beaded effect as it comes up on the plastic that you use to transfer. So basically you're just kissing the plastic onto your white surface and creating that beautiful speckle. So that first way is a dry on dry effect. Now the second way you can do it is to once again make contact with the plastic and the stamp pad, so you transfer the color and it beads. Then you add some further water, so I'm using a mister here. Then you go back to the surface that you're applying it to, spray that surface, and then kiss the two together. And voila, what you get are two different techniques with the Smoosh Technique. So now I'm coming in with the Dusty Concord, and I will repeat the same thing. I'm going to make it so that the left side, the left part of the layout is the wet on wet application, and the right side of the layout is the dry application. Now I had put a little bit of water to smooth the edges on the right, so I will go back and clean that up. But I'm going to just work now on the left hand side here, and I'm just going to start doing a wet on wet application and mixing the colors around and creating a beautiful bluey purple background. I made sure that right hand side was good and dry, and then I went back in and created the blue speckle design with the dry on dry method, and I took it out all over the right hand side, and I added just some more color to saturate the blue, because it had sort of speckled egg is quite a light blue, so it had sort of started losing its color saturation or vibrancy, so I went back and put a little bit of blue back in. Now the interesting here is, as I was drawing, do you see that face that came up on the left hand side? It was really staring at me as I did this, so I wanted to knock back that purple just a little bit and leave the purple on the left hand side. But then what I ended up doing was outlining the girl that came up for me here, and this is the part of art that I really love. When I sat down, I sort of didn't really know what I was doing with this page. I just wanted to allow myself to explore and see what came up, and I was so pleasantly surprised when this face kind of emerged from the colors, and I thought, wow, here we go. A beautiful surprise. You know, every day I look for a beautiful surprise in my life, and this is my beautiful surprise for today. So I just took a moment to remind myself how to draw a profile. So I went in to further define her features and sort of to get to know her and listen to the message that she had to say when she emerged. And this is where I do a little bit of inner work during my art play. This is where things come up for me as if reminders, as if intuition, as if wisdom, and really connect with core and start vibrating higher and finding joy and finding flow and finding calm and finding confidence. And this is what I mean when I say, you know, finding flow during my art time. It's just letting go and being confident with what I'm doing. All right, so back to the challenge. We've done 2 of the 5 prompts. This is where I'm going to use the prompt for washi, and I love this purple one. I chose purple because it was one of the colors in the background. Because you're using it on a surface that had water on it and other mediums, stamping and whatnot, the ink. So I did put a little bit of glue down, and I used a couple of different washi tapes here. So once again, I did go with the blue and the purple, and I just sort of love these words. So dream, bloom, shine, and I added some glitter, some silver glitter washi. I think that blue and silver are such a beautiful combination, and I love how the blue washi had a little bit of gold in it. And I usually don't put gold and silver together, but it kind of worked here, so I just went with it. I'm not going to be too particular here, all about what art is all about. You just kind of go with the flow. So washi prompt done. Time to now bring in the prompt for stamp, and I've just got these, and I picked the stamp that had a blue and purple. So it's an Australia stamp, and it's got this really interesting cactus, Tecticornia Tecticornia verrucosa. It's such an interesting plant. I'm not gonna have to keep my eye out for it, and grow it in my backyard. I love sort of succulents. They go really well with the climate that I live in. I'm right on the ocean, so succulents work really well here in my garden. They flower in the winter, and it's wintertime now, so perfect. Good luck with me finding it, right? So I am using a little bit of glue just to keep all the edges down, because that journal that I'm using is the Dina Wakley thick 6x6 square inch journal, and gosh, that paper is like, I don't know, 600 GSM. So good for taking water and doing watercolor and mixed media. So I used quite a little bit of glue to keep my paper items down. I've got this little item, the postcard item, and I'm now thinking, okay, because the stamp had the word Australia on it, I thought, okay, if someone were to send a postcard talking about what Australia would be like, I chose words from the Tim Holtz sticker pack, and I put a strange and wonderful place. Australia is a place of amusement. Australia is a place to play on the beach. Australia is good fortune. Australia is a place where you have to learn the language. Even though we speak English, you have to learn how people you contort and distort the words and make it a whole new language. So if you want to have a little bit of fun, go online and find out how Aussies refer to common things. It's quite an amusing thing. And Australia, where things are not what they seem. So a little bit of play here, a little bit of my joyfulness came out, a little bit of my fun came out. So I made it seem, so this is what people would say if they sent a postcard after coming to visit Australia. So I love how that came up. So last but not least is the prompt of the embossing powder, and I've done this technique before and it works for me, so I'm going to bring it in here. I use this crackle stamp, and I grab my Versamark, which is the embossing medium that you're required to stick embossing powder down, right? So I have used this stamp so that it looks like hair, and I usually add gold embossing powder and heat it so that it just looks like this beautiful gold vein going through hair. So you'll see in a moment how beautiful it looks when it's activated. So after I stepped back and had a look at that, I thought, well, I need to add a little bit of gold on the other side. And I think I may have gone a little bit over. This is when too much is too much, but it works. It's okay. I was trying to create symmetry in the layout, and it doesn't work too bad because I used my paintbrush here to remove a lot of the gold that stuck down. I think perhaps maybe it attached to the glue that I'd put underneath the washi tape, so not a problem. So I did scatter the gold veining let's call it that, onto the right hand side, and it does look beautiful. And of course you can see here what happens is the washi tape is plastic, and when you add heat it starts melting, so I did remove that washi tape and I added another one underneath it, so no problem, we're able to save the day that way. So I just also want to point out what happened here. I loved how the gold was veining up sort of through her head, kind of like a neural network. And I thought, I wonder if Versamark attaches to Perfect Pearls. So I did that. I added the crackle stamp on her neck, and then I kind of heat set the Perfect Pearls, and as it dried it created this the vein structure. Like, look how amazing this looks. So it looks like veins are popping up her neck and coming up her face. Don't know what this is saying, but this is totally me experimenting. So I need to go back and play with Versamark and Perfect Pearls. So I hope you enjoyed this play session. I hope you learned a few things and laughed a little bit about my experimentation techniques. I really enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much for joining me. I want you guys to go ahead and check out all the other girls. They will be using these prompts. I don't know how. I'm excited to go and watch what they did and how they use the prompts and the beautiful layouts they created. As I said earlier at the start of the video, if you're interested in playing along, we would love to empower you to do so. So please have a play with the prompts and take a picture, put it on Instagram, tag any of us. We will definitely like and follow you, and yeah, really excited about encouraging people to find the time to art and reconnect with themselves, because when you're in creativity, you are reaching the inner core of you and connecting back to yourself. That's always been my message, and it will continue to be my message. So thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you in my next video.